Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody back to part 2. Today is June 10th, 2023. Time is almost 5:30 p.m. And Baa is back. We're back here for part 2 of this week's episode of World News with Jester and Baa. Baa, you ready to rock and roll, dude? You fired up?
I'm fired up.
So what I wanted to get into with the second part of this week's episode was David Grouch. Okay? Now, I've talked a little bit about this on social media already, and so basically, guys, this is what it is. I'm just going to kind of summarize this down so you guys have an idea what's going on. So David Grouch, name is spelled Grusch, did some sort of work in the National Intelligence Agency, okay? And I guess was doing some kind of reconnaissance for something with them. I'm really fuzzy on his exact job, what it exactly was. But anyway, he's coming out as a whistleblower, making some wild claims, man, stating that there's UFOs, crashed UFOs, that the government has their hands on, all right? And this has been making news headlines all around the U.S. There are people trying to analyze this guy's body language to tell if he's telling the truth or not. I mean, this isn't something really to make up a lie about. I mean, I think that this guy's on point. I think he's telling the truth. I mean, he's saying we have intact and partially intact crashed UFOs in storage that the government knows about. And it's so convincing. Members of Congress are like, how come we didn't know about this? What's going on, right? And not only that, this kind of coincides very nicely with the Pentagon's 2021 release of, we don't know what the UFOs are, but we don't have this kind of technology, so they could be from out of this world, but we're not going to confirm nor deny.
Okay. So this has happened recently. This is 4 or 5 days ago. I'm seeing articles from.
Yeah.
It's interesting. What instantly my mind just goes to that guy, and I can't remember his name. I don't know why. The guy Snowden. Is it? No.
Yeah, Snowden.
No, I'm not thinking of Snowden. The one that did this back in the 80s.
Who did this in the 80s?
The guy that whistleblowed on alien technology, and then he was on Joe Rogan again. Is it Snowden? Is he not the one that did the NSA? Snowden.
Yeah, Snowden was the one. He's now living in Russia.
Yeah. So is it him also that did he talked about Area 51 and got, his wife left him or something? Like, he's a big name. I don't know why.
Yeah, so I know he did a lot. They actually did a movie about him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about I think he was blowing the whistle on the NSA, is I think what it was. And he was talking about how we're all being tracked through our phones and things of that nature.
Yeah. Ed Snowden. I think it is him. I'm not sure. But people will probably be screaming if it's not him. Yeah, but this again, this is the one subject or the couple of subjects, the flat earth stuff, the aliens, the space, that me and you could have some good fun with. But I hope that's all it is, because I know I almost feel like I'm breaking your heart when I talk the way I talk about aliens in space, because I'm just a non-believer, and it would take a lot for me. And I invite you to try, because I know you're into that stuff, or you were when you were younger. You've went down those rabbit holes of Rothwell and NASA and Area 51, and It's something that I don't know why. It's more than just from learning about conspiracies, because even when I was younger, it really didn't fascinate me. You know, you'd see these shows on our channel 4 or channel 5 late at night. You would see these UFO shows. Someone in America, you know, videoed it and they would talk and all that. It really didn't interest me. So maybe there is a bias there from when I was younger, that when I got into conspiracies, I'm just fully on board with the belief that exactly what he said, I can't argue with that, because I do believe that the government have this technology and they're rebuilding it or building it. But I don't believe there are aliens in any way, shape, or form. Like, there's no little green men, there's no greys, there's no alien, like there's no other beings other than human beings in our world. That's just what I've got to believe. Again, I'm not closed-minded. I fully invite you to try and change my mind. But what I will end with my little speech here is that I know that by the year 2025, I think there is an alien agenda that they talk about in the places that I'm moving around in, that by 2025 we will all believe in aliens. It doesn't matter if right now even people like me will, because it'll be undeniable. They'll show us something will happen, but I'm still going to cling to the idea that this is manufactured. It's Operation Bluebeam. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yes.
Yeah, where they can shine things basically project things into the sky to make it look like an alien or a city in the sky or a god or whatever. So I think one day we are going to have that, and maybe just this is the brainwashing that we're seeing just now in the last couple of years, because it has amped up. Like Joe Rogan's had a military guy on who says he flew past one and he stopped and doubled back, and it just stopped and then went out of sight. Now that's insane. That's like, you know, but I still have to believe that it's just us. It's just the governments of the world that have this technology and that they are basically trolling us.
Are you looking for something kick-ass to add to your closet? Reaper has the hookup for t-shirts, hoodies, button-ups, hats, beanies, and plenty of other badass products. You can check out Reaper Apparel Company at www.reaperapparelco.com and use code DOOM10 for 10% off. Jester only stands behind brands he believes in, and Dan at Reaper Apparel has a mission, and Jester is on board. Go check out www.reaperapparelco.com today and use code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire order. Why be a sheep when you can reap? Use code DOOM10 for 10% off at www.reaperapparelco.com today.
So, okay, but all right. Now, before I really get into what I think here, I got one more for you, okay? And then I'm going to convince you that aliens exist. All right. So this happened recently, this last past week, Baa. So a family in Las Vegas called 911 because a UFO had crashed in their backyard. Mm-hmm. And this is making headlines too. There's body cam footage from the police with apparently like a green streak flying through the air after this crash. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing about body cam footage or camera footage in general. A lot of things can look different in the dark, can be just, it could be a plane, it could be a sign, it could be a bug, it could be a dust speck. If you look at the footage, this is a pretty predominant light, right? And it's out there, and it's moving. But basically, this family calls 911 and says, hey, something just happened. There's like 8-foot tall creatures in my backyard. What the heck is going on? You need to send somebody out here. A lot of people are claiming this is a hoax. Why didn't they record it? I don't know. The one thing I do got to level with people online, like everybody has a smartphone now. Why did nobody get a video? Right? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I got to kind of rationalize with people with is like the guy sounded way too calm on the 911 call. If I had aliens in my backyard, I'd be like, yo, I'd be freaking out a little bit. So here's the thing, though. There's a lot of technologies we do not know about. If it is an advanced civilization, an advanced alien race, they could be controlling this guy's, endorphins and how much he's freaking out and controlling his anxiety with some kind of crazy waves we don't know about or can't see, right? They've done studies for years on how, like, different musical waves affect the body and stuff like that, right? So who's to say that, they don't have some technology that kept this guy from picking up his smartphone or kept him calm, right? Who knows? But, all right. So, Baa, I'm going to convince you that aliens are real. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, fact, since the 80s, and well, before the 80s, we for years we've had comic books that have talked about aliens and extraterrestrials, and we've had TV shows and we've had radio broadcasts, and there's all these different Hollywood movies, and there's so much going on to try to normalize aliens on this planet, like trying to normalize the existence of extraterrestrials. Now, Baa, let me ask you this. If aliens showed up on this planet tomorrow, it denounces one key thing in this world. What is that?
Oh, what do you mean denounce? Like, can you expand on that?
If you had an extraterrestrial come from another planet and land here anywhere on the world, anywhere on this planet tomorrow, what is that? What is the one thing that's going to denounce worldwide?
Oh, that there are other people or aliens out there, that there are other possibilities. We are not the only thing here.
Right. And that in turn smashes religion to pieces. It smashes Christianity to pieces, right? Now, hasn't it been the work of Hollywood and the work of the government to also destroy religion?
Yes.
So they're destroying religion as they're promoting the idea that extraterrestrials are out there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The two are going hand in hand. So if you wanted to let the world know, hey, the aliens are on the way, they're coming, we know this is going to screw up religion, so we got to get more people out of the churches, out of the Bible, take religion out of schools, do this, and normalize extraterrestrial existence, it's going to keep the world a lot more calm and sane when these extraterrestrials show up, right? The two are working hand in hand. This is not a coincidence.
So are you thinking that's the whole? So you sound like me there. You're sounding like this is an agenda you to destroy religion and take religion away.
Yeah.
Which I'll tell you something. I'm on board with that because I harp on a lot about this on my podcast. It's why I have a lot of respect for all the religions, because I think we should, but also more so Christianity, not as a bias thing, but because I see the constant, but like the demonization of Christianity on a daily basis, sometimes with some headlines and things, that it's a clear thing that they want to destroy religion. And I don't know if you're on board with this thought of mine, but I think we are headed into a communist, we kind of already are with something, socialism, but a communist way of life. And I know there's a saying out there, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's basically the biggest enemy of communism is religion. It's why it fails all the time, because religion holds strong moral values. And with communism, you have to let them go and worship the state. So, yes, I love that theory, and I think it can be added. However, what I will say is, and this is just a question more so, I don't think it does destroy I think it should destroy religion, but what about dinosaurs? Like, there's people who say that there's Christians that believe in dinosaurs, but I thought dinosaurs destroys religion.
Do you have enough food in your pantry for when disaster strikes? Go to www.readywise.com and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire food order. ReadyWise offers long-term food storage items such as chicken and beef that last up to 15 years. But that's not all. Go to www.readywise.com and use our code DOOM10 for 10% off of organic food as well. Offering chili, pasta, and soups, they have you covered. Did we mention they have fruits? Bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and apples, just to name a few. With many more food options for your home, car, or bug out bag, ReadyWise has your 6. Go to www.readywise.com now and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off.
So, okay, it does and it doesn't. Well, let me finish this up real quick about the whole aliens and religion thing. First off, you can have God and you could have aliens. That doesn't split it here. That's not a thing. Pretty much every religion out there believes that their God is extraterrestrial. Pretty much, even in Christianity, you believe your God ascends down from the heavens and that he created this world that we live on, thus stating that God is from out of this world, right? So it's a very easy concept to put together. And many religions kind of have the same basis around the planet to where their savior is from not of this world, that they are, not extra celestial beings, right? That's what they believe. So comparing, or not comparing, the contrast here that you couldn't have God and extraterrestrials is an insane factor. If God could create this world in 7 days and he's got all this free time on his hands, why couldn't he create other worlds, right? I mean, I don't know how busy he is, but I imagine he could do that, right? He's God after all. So now I think the thing with the aliens, the reason why that comes up so much, or I'm sorry, the dinosaurs. I think the reason that comes up so much is because you have so many mythical creatures within the Bible and the dinosaurs aren't mentioned. All right. And this, I mean, to me, this could be very, very simple, right? Mm-hmm. And it could be as simplistic as they were here, they had their time, they were gone, God didn't find them relevant before we were here, and that was it. Or, very simple, we were here when they were here. Back then, nobody had the capacity for reading and writing. We were still evolving. We had no idea what was going on as human beings, right? And we just didn't document the dinosaurs because they were just irrelevant, right? Mm-hmm. And it could be that simple. And a lot of people just go back to, well, the dinosaurs aren't mentioned in the Bible, so that kind of screws up everything. I mean, just like politics, we could spin that in one favor or spin it in the other. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you've got people finding fossilized stuff everywhere. You could find fossilized shark teeth at the beach. They find these frozen mastodons up in lakes and shit up north. I mean, it's, the reality is, I mean, they're unearthing stuff all the time. And whenever they do this unearthing and they do this carbon dating, it's like, what's going on? Right? Yeah. Look up something to everybody out there that's listening. Look up in your free time. Look up the Texas hammer. This is something that's very interesting.
What? The Texas what?
The Texas hammer. All right. So it is a tool. I can't remember how far this goes back, but they found this hammer that was becoming fossilized, and the wood on this handle was starting the process of turning into coal. That's how old this is. And they carbon dated this thing back, and it predates humanity, but it's a freaking hammer, and it's also found to be radioactive, right? So this suggests two things. The Texas hammer suggests two things. It suggests that there was some kind of nuclear or radioactive fallout here at some point that predates us, okay? And it proves that human beings were here a lot longer than we think, or this came from something otherworldly, right? Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they have this thing on display. They've carbon dated it. It's a pretty wild concept when you think about it.
Fire is one of the most basic essentials for survival. Whether you're camping, hiking, or preparing for disaster, Blackbeard has your 6. Go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DOOMSDAY for 10% off your entire purchase. Blackbeard offers stormproof matches, plasma arc lighters, fire starters, and ferro rods, all of which are great for your bug out bag. Once again, go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DOOMSDAY for 10% off your entire purchase.
Wow, I'll look into that.
Yeah,
it's something I've been kind of dabbling in and listening to a certain person on. Well, we can give him a shout. That VOR, Voice of Reason, on TikTok. He's actually agreed to come on the show. I love listening to him. He's a new Earth creationist and believes that the world's only, I think he thinks it's between 2,000 and 3,000 years old. And that, he's a religious person and all that, but, dinosaurs and talking about carbon dating, it's something that I'm not really clued up on, but I do find it interesting. What I would say was Ronald Reagan's speech is something that I think, did you know about his speech to the UN in regards to Operation Bluebeam, where they've pulled this speech out? And I've seen it tons of times floating about, but it's basically he's talking to the UN saying that possibly it wouldn't be such a bad thing if we were to be attacked by an outer galactic force like aliens and that, if they were to attack us, because then maybe the whole world would come together as one. Like we would be, instead of Russia and America fighting and China and all this stuff, that we would all come together and join up and fight off whatever's attacking us, and it would cause peace on Earth. And that's the video. Sorry.
No, I haven't seen it, but I just wanted to go out here and put this out there for a second. There will never be peace on Earth. That is a myth.
I know. But this is what conspiracy theorists and other people, and even alien buffs as well, will throw up and say that this speech is basically pre-programming us into one day that we will end up being attacked, but it won't be. I mean, you can believe that we will be one day if you want. If you believe in aliens and you believe that we could be attacked by them one day, that's fine. But for me, and I know other people think that they'll use Operation Bluebeam and technology that we won't get to know about, where they'll fly about above our heads and all this. Plus, all that you were rightly to point out all these films that were being shown, and even look at your kids. If you've got young kids, look at what they're watching. It's all aliens. Alien space, and dinosaurs as well. Like they're all watching programs to do with that, and it's a real tool to brainwash you from a young age to believe it. I know you're laughing, but
well, no, dude, I'm just thinking. I was a huge Power Rangers fan when I was a kid, and this is all about space aliens and robotic dinosaurs from underneath the ground. So I'm guilty, man.
Yeah. And by the way, I quickly looked up. I wasn't being rude. I was listening. It was what was his name? Bob Lazar.
Oh, that name sounds so familiar. Why can't I peg him?
He was the one that whistle blew on Area 51 back in the 80s, and they did a Netflix show on him. So Edward Snowden was the one about the wiretapping, the listening into your calls and all that stuff. But Bob Lazar was the what he believes. Well, he actually worked at Area 51 and was privy to some of this stuff. And he apparently says that he opened a door that he shouldn't have, and he walked in, and here was a spacecraft being reverse engineered. So they were taking bits off it, remaking that, putting it back in. So that they've been doing this, he believes, since the 70s and 80s. So, yeah. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to look that guy up, man, because, I mean, to me... So I think that I think that we are only scratching the surface on what the government actually knows.
Yeah.
With the Baa, and I've stated this many times on the show, you can't tell me we had this huge hike and leap in technology over the last 20 years without some kind of intervention, interference, reverse engineering, something. If you would have told me when I was a kid that one day I'll have a friend in Scotland on the other side of the fucking planet, and him and I will be video chatting together through a computer and, recording a podcast, being thousands and thousands of miles away, and then uploading that so everybody on the freaking planet could hear it, I would have been like, nah, dude, that maybe in like 1,000 years we'll have that kind of technology. But back then, we had what? Our biggest achievement was the mobile phone. My phone isn't connected to the wall. I could walk around and talk to people.
Yeah.
Now we have all this crazy technology. You can't tell me that's, not something has happened that we don't know about. We took a huge leap in advancement in the last 20 years, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense how we did it.
Are you open to believing in that we might not be the most advanced that we've ever been, like human beings? That maybe.
Oh, yeah. I think that there was a time where we were far more advanced, but we did it with clean organic technology. I think we harness something that we don't know about today back then, and because this technology was mainly organic, that it just rotted away and it's gone. I mean, you go back and you look at things like the Baghdad batteries and things like that, and you're like, what did they have to power back then? What were they powering? Right?
Okay.
And it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. And then you go back and you look at these ancient structures around the world, and it's like some of these things today would take millions to recreate, tons of machinery, tons of manpower, tons of organization. And, you know, they're not even so much as finding a clipboard laying around these places with a work schedule. So what's going on?
Get your tickets to PrepStock before they're gone. Go to prepstock.ticketleap.com today. Being held in beautiful Townsend, Tennessee, this community-focused survival event is taking place October 6th through the 9th. Explore the world of homesteading and survival. Escape the sheeple and find your people at PrepStock. For more detailed information, go to prepstock.ticketleap.com and buy your tickets now. Want to increase your chances of survival? Learn new survival skills such as herbal remedies, beekeeping, pressure canning, and much more. For a sense of security and protection in uncertain times, buy your tickets today at prepstock.ticketleap.com. Tickets to this event are limited and will be gone soon. Don't miss out on this doom-tastic time. Buy your tickets now at prepstock.ticketleap.com. Bug out to PrepStock this October.
Yeah.
Something's not making sense.
Again, I'm not clued up on it at all. It's a conspiracy that I've not looked into, and it is on my list. But the whole simulation theory has started to really crop up a lot in my life. People are talking about it online. That guy I was mentioning earlier, Voice of Reason, he believes in it, that we could possibly have reached a point in time that we've that's so advanced that we've built a supercomputer, and they've basically put us all back into it and started us off at an earlier date, and every time we get to that point. And that would explain, I mean, one of my favorite sayings in life is that it's all cyclical. A lot of this stuff that we're seeing, like I think the governments of the world have used capitalism to get the power and the money, and then once they've consolidated and monopolized everything, they'll then use communism to control us. So it's like, get the power, keep the power, get the power, keep the power, and have wars. And maybe even like, that's why I talk about when I ever talk to a religious person, I don't believe in like the flood and the Moses part in the Red Seas or anything like that, but I think these are like symbolic of wars. Like the flood is a depopulation thing where it destroyed the world, killed off a lot of people, and that needs to happen. It's almost like a brainwashing technique that, and again, I know I'm ranting here and I'm not finishing my things, but one of my biggest criticisms of religious people is that how accepting they are of what's going on today. I know you had Reverend Paul, and not to hate on the guy, I love listening to him, and I'd love to chat with him and put these questions forward. In fact, we could maybe do that. But I really, really can't stand listening to a Christian be okay with what's going on. And I don't want them to go out into the streets and fight or anything, but just find a way of accepting it and saying that Jesus will come back and save us and that all this stuff is going to happen. It's almost like the Bible's a playbook, the book of Revelations is a playbook, and they're happy with it because they're fine in their own lives. I just find that hard to take.
So I want to give you something to chew on here a little bit. And I meant to mention this a little while ago before we got into this past technology stuff. But so think about this. In regards to this aliens technology thing, think about this. The common theme in all these shows, in all these movies, is extraterrestrials coming to Earth and attacking the people, and governments around the world saving us. It's the common theme with all these. And I think it's going to be quite the opposite. And I think that this is done specifically to manipulate people. And if for some reason we don't come back on the air or I turn up dead somewhere, this is probably why. So what I think it is, this is all subliminal messaging, and it's pre-programming us, because I think if aliens did come to this planet, they're going to go after the governments and how the people are being treated, how the civilians are being treated, how they're starving people around the world, there's not clean water, how these governments are just leaving their citizens to die. I think that's what the aliens are going to do. They're going to go after the governments, and the governments are going to pop up and be like, y'all seen the movie Independence Day, right, with Will Smith? This is what's really going on. They're attacking you. We're trying to save you as your sovereign governments. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. I like that theory a lot better.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. Like,
I'm the same. I'm not depressed or anything. I want to live. I'm happy in my life. So if I turn up suicided,
yeah, if Baa and I turn up suicided, guys, that's not what it was. The government got us. Yeah. But no, if you think about it, man, like me and Baa, me and you, dude, what threat would we have to pose to an intergalactic species?
Want to be a guest on the show? Email itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. That's itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com.
None. But a government with tanks, raptors, drones, nukes, missiles, like they're the ones that pose the threat to an extraterrestrial species, not us. So they're not going to go after the citizens walking around this planet. They're going to start flying around and be like, we're taking your nukes, we're taking this, we're taking that. Mm-hmm. And then the governments might try to say something to the effect of, well, the aliens are leaving us defenseless against North Korea, not acknowledging the fact that they took North Korea's weapons too. That's what they'll do, right? They'll just manipulate it like they always do. And they'll have Kleborp on CNN from Zone 23-9 hanging out with Zoltan telling us that, you know, all governments are bad and they need to be destroyed. And then that'll be like the new thing that's going on. The aliens are coming, Baa, if they're not already here, dude, I swear.
Yeah.
So what do you think, dude, with all the conspiracies and everything that's going on, are you a believer?
In aliens?
Yeah.
No.
Damn, I figured I'd convince you, man.
No. I'm not closed-minded to anything, but because of the research I've done, and I just can't yet. That's why I think when I said bias with the Christian thing, I did dabble. I went to church, and because I think from a young age, my biggest fear was dying. When I found out that you could die, and you know, when I was only like 3 or 4 years of age, it really freaked me out. And it's probably been my phobia all through my life. Like I've woke up during the night in hot sweats in my 20s. Don't do it so much now, but like the thought of dying to it, really, like when we had religious education in school, a lot of the kids chose that time to mess around and play up and not listen. But I just loved Bible time, listening about Noah's, the ark, and Moses and all that. So there is maybe a bias there, but I don't believe in the Bible as such. And I do like talking about this subject, and I think it does really contribute to what's going on. I think we need to talk about it. I mean, I'm always searching for the truth, but the Bible, I think, was corrupted by all parties. I think not just the evil of the world. I think the people who want it to be true will justify it in their own ways. But I think there are true messages in there, and even like there's a word where there's people out there that want to make the Bible happen, so they're actively making it happen. I can't remember the word for that, but like there's people that think Jesus will come down, the rapture will happen, that they're making moves, like building the third temple in Israel and things. There's things that they're doing that is supported in the Bible. They're actively trying to make it happen. So is it really happening naturally? You know?
Right. No, I totally get what you're saying, man. So I'll tell you what, we got about a minute left here. Then we're gonna hit our time frame.
Yeah.
For those of you that are out there, you guys can catch this on my show. It's Doomsday Podcast. You can catch us on Baa's show, the Baa Ramu Podcast. Baa, where else could they get a hold of you on social media and stuff?
Instagram's the main one. I always share posts on there. That's my main social media. I don't have Facebook. My podcast is pretty much everywhere, and if I'm not there, please write in the comments, because I am eager to find out if there are any places that I haven't covered. But I always like to promote BitChute the most, bitchute.com. So far, they've been the least censored of the platforms, Rumble as well. Shout out to them. But if you just type BaaRamU podcast into pretty much anywhere, you'll find me, audio and video.
Rock on, man. All right, we'll try to be back next week with a brand new episode for you guys. No promises, though. No promises.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORAD is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.